retribution. Draw a line in the sand, we abuse it. This moment we own, and watch us prove it. We are released, the revolution. Let's go ignite, elements collide in a flash of light. And you feel the hope that means it's time. Light the fuse, bring the boom, dynamite. Let's go ignite, elements collide in a flash of light. And you feel the hope that means it's time. Light the fuse, bring the boom, dynamite. Let's live forever. Let's go ignite, elements collide in a flash of light. And you feel the hope that means it's time. Light the fuse, bring the boom, dynamite. Let's go ignite, elements collide in a flash of light. And you feel the hope that means it's time. Light the fuse, bring the boom, dynamite. Let's go ignite, elements collide in a flash of light. And you feel the hope that means it's time. Light the fuse, bring the boom, dynamite. Let's go ignite, elements collide in a flash of light. And you feel the hope that means it's time. Light the fuse, bring the boom, dynamite.
If you smell what the rock is cooking. The rock says, the rock says. The rock says, the rock.
I hear voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me.
Hello and welcome to the AEW Wrestling Talk Show with Resort Rock Jones and
Sean's it, as giving you our pre-Oster show. It's been a while since we've done one of these. A pre-Oster show for AEW Fyter Fest, Night 1 and Night 2.
yes, as part of AEW's Welcome Back to the Fans, first they started with Road Rage and now they have done 2 special episodes of Dynamite as Fyter Fest.
We'll start off with Night 1, which was back on July 14th of this year, from Cedar Park, Texas.
We had 6 matches taking place on this card.
With the
Starting with the IWPG United States Championship in a match which quite clearly could have happened in
Copyright.
when
John Moxley.
Dean Ambrose, John Moxley,
Copyright.
defended against Carl Anderson, not copyrighted,
Of course.
and in which John Moxley would successfully retain.
Moving on to a match for the FTW World Championship.
Yeah.
And Ricky Starks.
As Team Taz came to blows here in what I consider to be the AEW screwjob.
As Ricky Starks beat Brian Cage to win the FTW World Championship.
With a little bit of help from Hook and Powerhouse Hobbs.
Yes, and that will come to a close on this week's edition of AEW Dynamite.
Back to a match which could have happened in WWE.
Copyright name.
As rivals which go back over 20 years. Christian and Matt Hardy.
Yes, with Christian Cage picking up the victory.
Next, we had Sammy Guevara
Of the Inner Circle.
taking on and defeating
Wheeler Yuta with Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy in his corner.
Don't you mean freshly squeezed?
Yes. Then we had Yuka Sakanasi. I'm going to pronounce it like that. I apologize if I butchered the name. Defeating Miss Sabian Penelope Ford.
And the main event,
Darby Allin.
So the Undertaker take on Mankind. I mean Darby Allin take on Ethan Page in a coffin match.
And during the match, there was interference from Scorpio Sky, which was quickly snuffed out by the Icon Sting.
AKA WCW Undertaker.
With the winner of the match being Darby Allin. But after the match, Darby Allin thought it was a grand idea to hit a coffin drop, his finishing move, on Ethan Page while Ethan Page was still in the casket.
You mean coffin?
Yes.
So that was night one of Fyter Fest, in which we'll go through again. Moxley retained the IWPG United States Championship over Carl Anderson.
Ricky Starks beat Brian Cage to win the FTW Championship.
Christian Cage defeated Matt Hardy.
Sammy Guevara defeated Wheeler Yuta in a one-on-one match.
I'm not going to bother to botch his pronunciation, so...
Just call it Yuka. Call it Yuka. Makes it simple. Yuka defeated Miss Sabian, aka Penelope Ford, one-on-one.
AEW is a company that has one name, remember?
Oh, yes.
And Darby Allin defeated Ethan Page in a casket/coffin match. Fyter Fest of night one of Fyter Fest, and this is big news in the battle between the two companies at the minute. Average ratings of 1,025,000.
Yes, on TNT with an average 0.40 rating in AEW's key demographic. Now, night two, which was back on July the 21st, came at us from the Curtis Culwell Center in Garland, Texas.
In a match stolen from December's pay-per-view from one company,
Yes.
Chris Jericho faced Shawn Spears, in a chairs match. However, only Shawn Spears was able to use chairs in this.
Yes, where Jericho had to wrestle under normal match rules. During this match, there was interference from Tully Blanchard, which was quickly extinguished by Sammy Guevara.
Then we had Vestus, aka Luke Gallows, aka Doc Gallows,
taking on Frankie Kazarian.
In a match which he would ultimately win.
And to make matters worse for Frankie Kazarian, he was attacked after the match by the entire elite, only for Hangman Adam Page to try and come out and say that he too would also get ambushed, which led to the entire Dark Order scattering the elite to clear the ring.
Now, after suffering a defeat to Sammy Guevara the week before,
Yuta decided to challenge Darby Allin to a one-on-one match.
Wheeler would be accompanied by Orange Cassidy, while Darby Allin would once again be accompanied by Sting.
With the winner of the match being Darby Allin, but Orange Cassidy would get knocked out after the match by the Blade using brass knuckles.
Speaking of the Blade, we would see him later on, but before then, for the AEW Women's Toy Championship,
That's it. Championship.
former champion Nyla Rose to be accompanied by Miss Excuse Me.
Oh, God. It was a fantastic match between the two women. Nyla Rose would even try to put Eddie Guerrero on the Doctor, Baker, but it didn't work.
Yes. Britt Baker, aka Britt Cole, aka Mrs. Adam Cole.
Copyright.
No, it's not, because he was known as that before Live and Blair.
Oh, yes, true. Mrs. Cole would retain her AEW Women's World Championship against Nyla Rose.
Then we would have Orange Cassidy with Chris Statlander
defeating the Blade, who had the Bunny, aka Ali, in his corner.
not to be confused with Bad Bunny.
No. And in his hometown, Lance Archer would be given a shot the IWGP United States title in a Texas death match. Let's explain how this match goes.
Well, do you really remember what happened last time they tried this kind of bullshit?
Yes, basically, a Texas death match can only be won by pinfall, submission, knockout, and that's it.
This was a bit more of a success story than the exploding death match they tried a few months ago.
Yes, as Lance Archer, in front of his hometown, would win the IWGP United States title, ending the 500-plus day reign of Jon Moxley as IWGP United States champion.
Funnily enough, it was actually Lance Archer who Jon Moxley defeated back in January of 2020, a few months before the world shut down,
Yeah.
to win the championship to begin with, in its second reign at least.
So let us run you through night 2 one more time.
We had Chris Jericho defeat Shawn Spears in a chairs match where only Shawn Spears was allowed to use a chair.
Gallows would defeat Frankie Kazarian.
Darby Allin defeated Wheeler Yuta.
Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, would retain the AEW Women's World Toy Championship against Nyla Rose.
Freshly screwed Orange Cassidy with Chris Statlander defeated the Blade with Bunny.
And Lance Archer would wins the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship against Jon Moxley in a Texas death match by knockout.
And just like Night 1, Night 2 of Fyter Fest pulled in 1,148,000,000 viewers with a 0.44 rating in the key demographic.
And AEW in Night 2 had some superstars making their debut. We had Nick Gage, Deathmatch Wrestling Specialist. We also had Chavo Guerrero making his debut. And also the rampant rumours going around of two big names coming to the company.
Yes, apparently coming to AEW, there have been rumors that CM Punk, yes, you heard this right, CM Punk, who walked out of wrestling following a bit of controversy in 2014, is set to make a
Wrestling comeback.
and that Bryan Danielson, aka Daniel Bryan, is all but signed for AEW. They just need to make the announcement.
Yes, but if we hear anything, we will let you, listeners of the AEW Wrestling Talk Show, know. We'll be next with you on Wednesday for AEW Fight for the Fallen.
Will we?
Technically Thursday, but that's when the next pay-per-view is.
Well, it's not really a pay-per-view. It's more of a.
Normal show.
It's more of a specialized Dynamite special, which they seem to be doing a lot of. When the next pay-per-view isn't until September, really, with All Out.
So that does it for our AEW Fight for the Fallen pre-Ost show.
But yes, the Elite seem to be slowly taking over the wrestling company.
Any wrestling company they go in, they always take over. And it looks like it's continuing.
Well, let's just wait and see where stories go in AEW and whether a certain company can get their act together if Vince McMahon decides to actually butt his head together.
And stop releasing superstars. So until then, he's been
Lisa Jones, always Jones, he's been.
I've been Sean Smith. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.